Hello, everybody. This is Dan Bigman from LearnGPR.com, and I am your GPR professor. And today I want to talk about using different pieces of equipment. And I have an analogy here, which goes back to my video game days when I was growing up. When I was growing up, the two main competing consoles were Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Some kids in my neighborhood only bought Nintendo. They bought the original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Wii, I guess, right? Bringing it all the way up here. Only that's it. They wouldn't even entertain the idea of buying a Sega Genesis. I had other people who bought Sega Genesis and then bought, the next higher version, then bought the Sega Saturn or whatever it was, and just for some reason despise Nintendo. Like they wouldn't even play the new games. All right? And I know I'm kind of going off a little bit on a tangent, but I want to make a point. When I was growing up, I bought Super Nintendo. And when I was able to do it, I bought Sega Genesis. And when I was able to do it, I even bought TurboGrafx 16. Click in the comments below if you have any idea what TurboGrafx 16 was. And if you can tell me the main video game that was on TurboGrafx 16, like on Sega, it was Sonic. On Nintendo, it was Mario. If you can tell me what the main character game was on TurboGrafx 16, I'm going to give you, a special coaching or something like that. First person to come up with what the TurboGrafx 16 guy was. If nobody comes up with it in the next video I post, I'm going to let you know. So, those were three different systems that I had. Why did I have them? They each were good at different things. Nintendo had great fighting games. Street Fighter was incredible. And eventually, they had Soul Calibur, another great game. Sega had excellent sports games. And TurboGrafx 16 kind of had some other awkward games, but they were different and enjoyable. All right? They each did something good that was different from each other. The reason I'm making this video is I see a lot of people out there today who use GPR who will not even put their hands on a GPR system that's not from the manufacturer that they know and like and have grown up with, okay? They buy the Nintendo, the 64, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo Wii, of a particular manufacturer. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you really like and you think that they do all the different things that you want done, the best. But do yourself a favor. Go put your hands on some other pieces of equipment. Go put your hands on non-GPR equipment. If you're in structural engineering and you're using GPR, or you're doing that kind of work, go look for some other kinds of equipment. What about, electroresistivity half cell equipment or something like that? Use something else. Okay? Get your hands on something else. And if you're using GPR, put your hands on another manufacturer's piece of equipment to see what it feels like, what the interface is like. What do they do better? And even if you don't buy it, you can relate it back to your manufacturer. My point is this. Don't be afraid to have multiple different types of systems in your fleet. I know some great folks around the world, okay, in Australia, for example, I'm talking to, Ben, okay, who have two separate manufacturers, have equipment from two separate manufacturers because these two pieces of equipment do great things differently. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple different pieces of equipment. Seek out good equipment. Seek out the equipment that's right for you, even if it's from different places. If you bought a very simplified piece of equipment and you're going to add a new piece of equipment and you want one that's more complex and you go to a different manufacturer, don't feel like you have to sell that simple piece of equipment. It still has a role. When you bring on a new person, that might be the right equipment for that new person. So try and test out different types of equipment, different types of manufacturers. Don't be the guy, the kid in the neighborhood who would only play, if you only like playing Madden football, and Sega had the best Madden football game in the day, then just get Sega, right? That's it, and get your Madden game. I mean, it's fine. I get it, okay? If all you're doing is super simple concrete, whatever it is, concrete scanning, you only need one piece of equipment, you're only going to ever need one piece of equipment, I guess that's all right. But if you're trying to be better, if you're trying to be an expert, if you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to add client profiles into your system, to expand the kind of work that you do, check out a variety of different pieces of equipment. Even if you go with the same manufacturer, great, wonderful, you will be better off because you understand the industry better. You'll know what your competitors are using, for example, if they have the other equipment. You'll be able to talk intelligently about what you use and why it's what you think is best in class. And so do yourselves a favor and go try out a variety of different things. Don't make it Nintendo versus Sega. Make it Nintendo and Sega and maybe TurboGrafx 16. So if you like the video, then subscribe to the channel so you get notified every time we come out with a new one. Go over to learngpr.com, put your name and email address in, and you'll get some of our free training videos sent to you every single week. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.